Welcome to the Reify Online Learning Hub. In this tutorial, we'll dive deep into using the deck component to craft an interactive multi-screen application. You'll use a deck layout whenever you want to entirely replace some area of the screen with a new UI. The replaced area could be the whole screen, or it might be something smaller, like the contents of a window. Think of a deck as a tab set, but without the tabs. It lets you replace parts of your screen with the new UI, and only one pane is visible at a time. Keep in mind that if you're thinking about mobile functionality, like transitioning to a new pane that fills the entire phone screen, you don't need a deck for that. The split pane and triple pane components handle that automatically. Let's get started. First, let's add a deck layout, so double-click on the deck component to add it to the screen. With the deck component, only one pane is visible at a time. A pane is a screen area managed by another component. For instance, a tab set has a unique pane for each tab. Like a tab set, a deck reveals one pane at a time, but without the tabs. With our deck, we'll control which pane is shown using Hide Show actions. Now let's create a pane that displays a list of customers. Double-click on the list grid. To populate it, bind the list grid to the customer data source by double-clicking on it. Next, we'll create a pane for editing and saving customer details. Drag and drop a table layout form under the deck, right below the list grid. We'll also bind this form to the customer data source. To enhance usability, we need a button that not only saves the data, but also returns the user to the customer list. So let's add a button to our form. Once added, name the button Save and Return to List to clearly convey its function. With our panes in place, we need to add functionality to manage which pane is visible and when. We want our users to see the customer list first when they open our screen. So we are going to set it as the initial pane by selecting the deck component and setting Initial Pane property to the customer grid. Time to make our panes interactive. When a user selects a record from the customer grid, we'll load that record into our form. Click on the customer grid and navigate to the Events tab. For the record click event, click on the Add Action icon. Two actions will occur after the click, so choose the Multiple Actions option at the bottom of the list of actions. Click on Add Additional Action to add the first action. To start, let's get the record ready for editing. Hover over Customer Form and pick Edit Selected Record. This action ensures we're editing the record we just clicked on. Next up, we want the form to show after it's loaded with data. To do this, hit the Add Additional Action button again. We want our edit form to be visible when a record is selected, so go ahead and hover over Customer Form in the menu, and then select Show. And as always, don't leave without saving your work. Click on the Save button to finalize your changes. Next on our list is setting up a workflow for the Save and Return to List button. This workflow will handle saving the record and smoothly taking the user back to the customer list. To kick things off, head back to the customer form by clicking on it in the component tree. Click the Save and Return to List button to select it. We're going to add some actions that will happen after the user clicks on the button. So click on the action icon next to the click event. From the drop-down, select Workflow. First up in our workflow, saving that edited record. Dive into Form Tasks and pick Save Data. We're still working with the data in the customer form, so let's keep that selected. While we're at it, let's keep both the Show Notification and Clear Form options as they are. Confirm this step by clicking OK. But wait, there's more. We want our users back at the customer list post-save, so let's reveal the grid pane. Click on Pick a Task, and then head over to Widget Tasks to choose Show Hide. After saving, we want our customer list front and center. We'll choose the customer grid as our component, and then click on the Shown Radio button so that it will be made visible after the save. Click OK to save the task. A quick note here. We opted for a workflow here to showcase the alternatives to adding multiple actions to an event. Feel free to choose the most suitable method for your screen. And with that final touch, our workflow is complete. Confirm it by hitting the Save button. We've successfully assembled our multi-screen application. Now it's time to see it in action. To do this, click on the Preview button. A Upon previewing, you'll immediately observe the customer list. You can select any customer record to delve deeper. Once selected, the record will be presented in the customer form, primed for editing. We're going to update one of the fields, so navigate to the credit limit field to make an adjustment. For this example, change the value to 100,000. Once done, save your edits by clicking the Save and Return to List button. Post-saving, notice how you're redirected back to the customer list. The freshly updated credit limit is now reflected on the record you modified. Let's leave the preview mode to add one more additional touch to our screen. We're going to add a header component, so simply drag and position it above the deck in the component tree. To make it descriptive, update the header title to Customer Management. Ready to see the changes? Click on the preview icon again. Click on a row in the list grid. As you navigate, you can see that the header remains static even when the panes change. Its constant presence is because of its placement outside of the deck and its associated panes. Congratulations, you've mastered the deck component to create a multi-screen application. The deck is an excellent tool to use whether you want to replace the entire screen display or just parts of it. Use a split pane or triple pane if you wish to manage your screens differently depending on if they are viewed on a desktop or a mobile device. For instance, a screen with side-by-side panes on a desktop can seamlessly transition to full display panes on a mobile phone. If you're curious about how to implement split pane, be sure to check out our 2-pane application tutorial. You'll find the link in the video notes. Thanks for joining us.
Reify is a new kind of low-code platform, one you can use on every project, not just for the simple ones. Reify is a radically faster, radically better way to work. Try Reify today for free.